Hey guys, I'm here with our first sponsor, a book I can't recommend enough, Healthy Made Easy, written by Mitchell Thompson. We've had him on the show. He's the owner of Self-Sustained Training. Great guy. He's given us a book jam-packed with so much information on diet, the effects on the body, what we should be eating. I can't recommend this book enough. Like I said, if you need a guide to starting a healthier diet, living healthier, this is the book has everything you need to start out. Easy read, jam-packed with information. It's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Be sure to head over, follow Mitchell Thompson. He's on Instagram, all platforms, Facebook, everything. Check out his documentary. That as well is very eye-opening. Issues in our medical field, how beneficial a healthy diet is. I want to appreciate everybody for supporting the show. And yeah, go check it out. All right, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining me today, man. Pretty honored to have you on.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. So you just had a seminar at Helion, right? Your Kesakatami, is that how you say it? Kesakatami seminar. Great, man. It was awesome. The way you led that seminar, man, I mean, just the detail, the breakdown of everything, I mean, from a white belt perspective, it was great. It really helped me out because there was a lot of things that I was missing. And I don't really use that move a lot, but a lot of the bigger guys do on me. And it was just a pain in the ass to get out of. I mean, once that thing was sunk in and they had their, like you showed your leg aligned and all that stuff with their spine. I mean, it was just like, it was a nightmare, So it's kind of cool to see, one, how to actually hold that move correctly or how to get to that correctly, the steps to get there. And then it was cool to see the defense because that was my biggest thing. I'm like, dude, I got to figure out the defense on this thing because, I mean, as well as anybody and anybody who's ever been in that, had that done to them, it sucks a lot. So just off the, first question I got to ask you, why is that your move? Why did you gravitate towards that?
Well, first off, I appreciate the kind words about my seminar. I was shown that move when I was a white belt by Jess Hernandez at Northland Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. It's not there anymore. He still trains at his own club. And I just got stuck there a lot. And I hated being there. And then he's an old school Jiu-Jitsu Judo guy. He still trains at Northland. And I decided we just drilled it. And it's such an unorthodox move that if it's done right, seems to hit pretty well.
Really? Yeah. So you were tired of being in that position. You're like, I got to figure this shit out.
Yeah. It's kind of like anything else. You like something, you do it more. And the more you do it, it just kind of adds to your game. And the more you fail at it, the more you seek knowledge to learn how not to fail at it.
Right.
I probably failed at that move more times than anybody else.
Yeah.
So
do you think that it's the best route is to learn just a handful of basic moves that kind of go with you as an individual? Like, is that kind of the route people should go instead of trying to learn everything, master a handful?
I think when you're a white belt and a blue belt, it's good to be exposed to a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Even last week we were drilling, I'm a black belt, and we were drilling stuff that I've never drilled before. And it's not something I would probably ever add to my game, but knowing the entries, knowing how it works is very important to see it coming.
Yeah.
So
you can defend it.
So you can defend it or see how to get out of it.
Right.
I think white belts and blue belts should be exposed to a lot. And I think as you start to figure out what your core game is and what you add, you bolt pieces onto it. And then that way you can start finding your own path. And it's kind of like a tree. The roots all funnel up to the tree trunk. So you start funneling people into your game and different moves start funneling into your A game.
Gotcha.
But you don't even know what your A game is at white belt. All you know is you don't want to die. and you don't want to be submitted.
And you got a couple of submissions under your belt. That's about it.
If you're lucky.
A couple of moves that that feel that are the easiest out of everything else.
Correct. My wife went to a tournament about a month ago, and she had 2 moves: a hip bump and a Kimura. That's only and a guard pull. Yeah, and she won a couple of matches off of 3 moves.
Hey, there you go.
So you don't have to be great at a lot of them. You just have to turn around and know what you're doing.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing to me too. You know, we were chatting, you know, before you came on for the last couple of weeks, and your story. I mean, I had a guest on, James Regina. I'm sure you know him. You know, you guys have seen each other. I've seen you guys roll at Helian. Kind of have similar backstories too, of like weight loss journey and jiu-jitsu saving your life and stuff like that. And I mean, it's such an amazing story. And you know, I think I feel like sometimes it gets overlooked. You know, it's like, oh, it's just another story. But like, how crazy it is. How big were you? Like before you started?
When I started jiu-jitsu, I weighed 305 pounds.
I know, and that's crazy. And you're now what?
235.
235.
I got down to 199 was the lowest I got. And then I started lifting weights and probably not as careful on my diet as I should be right now. But 235 is what I walk around with. So,
but jiu-jitsu started that weight loss journey for you, right?
That's how I started losing weight. My wife actually started, we were both obese, you know, living the American dream, you know, corporate jobs, you know, kid at home, white picket fence life, you know, just fat and tired and out of shape. And she started with a personal trainer many years before me, and then started doing 5Ks. And then she started wanting to run half marathons, and then got into triathlons and all that. And I just like, man, I got to do something, you know, she's doing this. So I knew I didn't want to go to a gym. I still don't like going to the gym. I do it because it helps my jiu-jitsu, but not because I like it. And so I did jiu-jitsu when I was 17, and I knew it's something I could go do and try to get back in shape without actually going to a gym. So I started 9 years ago now, at 305, you know, biggest dude in the room. Nobody wants to roll with you. Yeah. You know, can't get through warm-ups without having to take a break, you know, so, but just showed up, continue to show up. We trained twice a week. Who
introduced you to jiu-jitsu?
I was 16 years old, 16, 17. And I have a black belt in Taekwondo. And there was a guy that came in and started teaching jiu-jitsu 2 times a week after Taekwondo. And so I started staying for that class. And it was just it was like eye-opening. It was like, holy cow. Now, our Taekwondo isn't like a lot of the Taekwondo is today. We actually sparred, and, you know, it's more like kickboxing. Yeah. It was, you know, we actually got beat up.
That's why I had Jorge on. You know Jorge, right? The Marcelo black belt. He did Taekwondo as well. That's kind of his main background. And he was explaining to me the same thing, that back then it was different than what it is. It's kind of changed. And he said, though, nowadays, though, it just depends on where you're at. Some of them are still the old school way, and then some have changed. So it just depends on where you go, what gym you go to.
Yeah, so we competed, you know, when I was 14, 15, 16, we competed and sparred. And then when jiu-jitsu came in and this guy started, he was actually an MMA fighter, fought in Pride 2 or 3. Back when, you know, it was Valley Tudo, and it wasn't called MMA, it was called No Holds Bar. I actually did, let's say, 6 or 7 MMA fights when I was 17 and 18.
What is that, No Holds Barred?
It's basically what MMA is today. Okay. We just were in like chicken wire fences and you know, boxing rings. And you know, one of my fights, my leg went through the ring and my leg stuck between the cage and the so this was, and like, it was, none of it was sanctioned. It was just,
you have gloves or
we had real thin gloves. You could wear shoes, you could wear whatever you want. They could wear gi, no gi, whatever. So
did you wear the gi since you had a Taekwondo background?
I wore gi pants. I still wear gi pants. I'm not wearing the skimpy no gi shorts. That's just
Hey,
not
man.
my style. No,
Come on, man.
not gonna do it.
You ain't gonna come on the short shorts
No,
train?
no. I wear gi pants and a long sleeve rash guard, even in no gi.
Do you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Does that ever mess with you? Like, because they can grab your pants, right? In jiu-jitsu?
They can. If you're going by no gi rules, then they're not supposed to. But
Oh, okay.
I really don't. You know, when I compete no gi, I have to wear the shorts, but
Oh, okay.
I just don't train in them.
Got you.
I gotta try to keep all my skin covered up as much as possible so I don't get everybody else's rashes.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you, man. That's cool, dude. Yeah, I don't know much about that. I didn't know it was called a no holds barred.
Yeah,
right?
no holds barred.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, there's no rules. Like,
okay.
don't punt, don't poke them in the eye, don't pull their hair, and don't kick them in the nuts. Like, we could elbow, we could knee, we could all that good stuff.
So not almost UFC 1, right? Because UFC 1, they were still pulling hair.
Yeah, this was right in the late 90s. So it's 98, 99.
Oh, okay.
Time frame. So UFC, I think, came out in mid 90s.
That's got to be crazy, man.
Yeah, it was. And then
6 fights in that, huh?
6 or 7, I can't remember.
Yeah. Damn. Anybody you fight that went to be anything or no? No.
They were all just older than me. I was 17 and 18. And I was fighting guys 35 years old.
Damn.
They called me Babyface Brick was my fighter name.
That's crazy. And you're just people's backyards and rings and shit like that?
Yeah, like we had, my last fight was in like an abandoned warehouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
And there was actually people there watching?
Oh, yeah. My mom was front row.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Saw me get my ass kicked for 20 minutes. The first fight was a 15-minute round with a 5-minute overtime, and I just got murdered.
What?
And like my whole face was all swollen.
Yeah, because back then there probably wasn't, people weren't submitting people. They were just beating the shit out of each other, right?
No, we submitted people. But yeah, I just got hammered and I didn't quit though.
Yeah, that's good, dude. That's crazy, man. I didn't even know that went on. I actually talked to Luke, which you know Luke. He was telling me about that stuff went on back then, and about like old school, like people going to different gyms and calling people out, like fighting and stuff like that. I was like, damn, man, that was a wild time back then.
Yeah.
I mean, you're from that era as well, so that's pretty cool. So you went from Taekwondo, then the guy introduced you to Jiu-Jitsu.
Correct.
So you started doing that.
That was when I was 18. I got a blue belt when I was 18. I trained for like a year and a half in jiu-jitsu, and then graduated high school, and then work, and just work, and had to go pay the bills, and that stuff kind of gets put on the back burner when you're hustling, trying to make money, and go do adult stuff.
So you kind of put jiu-jitsu on a hold then for a while.
Yeah, for 18, 20 years.
Oh shit!
So when I came back in say 90 or 15 or 16, I can't remember. It may have been 17. I came back as a white belt. Like, there's no way I'm going to walk in a room and put a blue belt on.
Oh, is that where you were when you left?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, I'm 305 pounds, haven't done anything. I'm not about to walk in a room,
right?
As a blue belt.
Yeah, because were you always overweight, even as a younger man, or no?
No.
Okay, so it just happened when you start working, you got kids, wife. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, family life.
Yeah, the American dream.
Yeah.
It's,
ain't got time to cook, just eat out.
Yeah.
Nah, I get it.
So I started back with Jesse Hernandez at Northland Judo and Jiu-Jitsu. It was the right spot at the right time. We only trained 2 days a week on, I think it was Thursday nights and Sundays. And
really,
yeah.
Where was that at? Is that still here?
It was at Liberty North High School, in the wrestling room, and then we ended up shutting that down. And most of his students merged with Cast Iron with Josh Littleton up in Excelsior.
Yeah, I've been up there. That's a good gym.
So now he's over in Liberty. So that's where I went. So I spent about a year with Jesse at Northland Jiu-Jitsu. Now he still has a spot over at that's one of these high schools that he teaches a little club at.
In the Northland?
Yeah, it's in Northland. It's a high school.
North Kansas City High School?
No, not North Kansas City. It's it's in it's north of Gladstone. It's right over. It's a big high school. It has a good wrestling program.
Oak Park?
Oak Park.
Yeah, that's where I graduated from.
Yeah, that's where he still teaches jiu-jitsu out of there, like twice a week.
Really? Mm-hmm. I never knew that. Yeah. When did he start that? Do you know? Like, was it a while ago? Oh, okay. So I graduated in 2010.
Yeah, he's still there. His son wrestles in college now and still comes back.
That's awesome, dude. I didn't know that. And who is that guy again?
Jesse Hernandez.
Okay. Is he just always been is he a jiu-jitsu guy or is he an MMA? Or
jiu-jitsu. He's old school jiu-jitsu, black belt in jiu-jitsu and judo.
That's awesome, dude.
So I started with him, and then, like I said, when Liberty closed up, we merged with Cast Iron, and so I ended up staying with Josh for several years, and then ended up at KCBJJ, and then about 2.5 years ago ended up at Pirata.
Oh, really? That's where you're at now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was the reason of changing gyms? Is it just life or like location, availability?
Goals changed. Everybody wants to dream of, staying at one gym for white to black belt. I think everybody, but my goals and my focus changed a little bit. And, each gym taught me, like leaving Northland was just because they shut down. And then, going from Cast Iron to KCBJJ, it was a hard decision, but to reach my goals and competition, it was a necessary decision.
Yeah. More intense training and
just a bigger room.
Yeah, a lot more like people you can train with there that are maybe at your level or above.
A lot of people are above, and Josh Littleton is a black belt under Jason, so and I'd been going to open mat at KCBJJ for years on Saturday before that. So it wasn't a big transition, but it was a hard one.
Yeah.
And anytime you leave a gym, but I still go to Cast Iron every Saturday. So it's not like there's any ill will there.
Oh, nice.
So, I train there every Saturday at open mat. And then, so I stayed at KCBJJ for, I want to say 2 years or 3 years, got my purple belt there. And then when I've known Pirate for, 6, 7, 8 years now, and trained with him at Body Fit when he's there. And then when he opened his gym in Independence, it was just a good time and a right fit for me to head over there. And I'm still, I've taught seminar at every one of the gyms that I've trained at. So it's not like there's any ill will. It's just sometimes time for a change.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's cool. There shouldn't be, right? I mean, I feel like, whatever works for you is where you should go. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to be, first off, everybody gets, people can get bitter if you don't handle it the right way.
Yeah.
And, and I think when it was time for me to leave, or when I felt that my next progression in jiu-jitsu, I always made sure that I was clear with with where I was at, and I was clear with the people I was going to, and, to try to not burn any bridges and never talk bad about the gyms, or never, because they've all been an important part of my process.
Right.
So,
yeah. And because even, mine's not, I'm sure you spent a lot more time than what I did at 10 Planet, but, Jeremy and Blake, they were always great. They would always tell me, cause they kept in contact with me while I was off and stopped going, just great guys, man, would check up on me. Hey man, how you doing? And then when they found out years later that I joined Helion, we would talk, and they were like, man, as long as you're doing jiu-jitsu, man, like that's all we care about. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, man. That's a cool, like environment to create for everybody out here. Not like, damn, you should have been at our gym or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like all they cared about was, hey, you're doing this art, and it's changing your life. So.
Yeah. And one thing I've come to realize over the years is every gym has its own flavor and its own culture. And it is possible for you to outgrow a gym that isn't where you're at right now in your stage of jiu-jitsu.
For sure.
And, it's as much as we like the people around. And like I said, I still got friends at every gym. Like some of my best friends are at gyms I don't train at anymore. And, I got new friends at new gyms. And, I think the goal is your jiu-jitsu is yours. And as much as it's important to have loyalty to a gym, because I believe it's important to give back to the gym that's helping you. Mm-hmm. I think that's our job. It's also important to make sure you're staying focused on why you're in the game and what's going on for you.
Right. Did you have that mindset as a white belt? I mean, because, you know, the stuff you've sent me, I mean, you've been competing a lot. I mean, since you started, you know, in pretty big tournaments, you know, not just your run-of-the-mill regular, you know, pay your $85 tournaments in the gymnasium. So have you, like, so when you started jiu-jitsu, you knew, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm all in or nothing.
No, not at all. That was
really?
never the goal.
Really?
When I started jiu-jitsu, I was just trying not to die of a heart attack from being obese. And then, you know, I started training 2 days a week. Sometimes just getting there was a struggle, you know, going in and just, can I just make it through warm up without stopping was always the battle.
Yeah.
I ended up about 6-8 months in, I did my first tournament, jiu-jitsu tournament, Derek Ripley's tournament, Victory Grappling was up at St. Joe. And I think I had like 7 matches. I got second or third or something. And I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Like, I'm an adult and I can still have a reason to get excited and compete. And, you know, that's,
what year was this?
Let's see what the year is.
17.
You said
you came back 17? Okay.
16, 17-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you competing in, like, with adults or masters?
I was masters.
Still masters. Okay. Because
Yeah.
I've always wondered that, man. I've gone back and forth on not whether you should stay in masters, because, like, with my age, being 32, it's like I'm right over that threshold.
I'd stay in masters.
Stay in masters.
Unless you're beating the brakes off everybody in your division. Stay in your division.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between an adult competitor and a masters competitor.
Oh, I know. I see that at my gym, just, you know, rolling with the 20, you know, 21, 22-year-olds, man. I mean, it's crazy. The age gap, that 10-year age gap just makes a huge difference, you know, which kind of, you know, when I watch these guys at ADCC who are 30s, 40s competing, it's like, wow, you know.
No, it's very, you know, there's let's not get it twisted. You know, as much as I've had success at a lot of tournaments, I still know my role. I'm a 43-year-old, you know, black belt, and, you know, these new guys and these young guys and, you know, purple and blue, you know, they're absolutely amazing. And, you know, I think sometimes we get it confused on, you know, winning Master Worlds is not winning Worlds. Right. So
still a huge accomplishment.
It is. Yeah. And so, you know, getting back to, so I got second and third at my first tournament, competed again, I think I got second or third again. It wasn't until my third tournament I won my first gold medal. And then I enjoy challenging stuff, and I really did not like the way I felt competing. It was so nerve-wracking. So I was like, I got to figure out how to get over these nerves. And then, so, got promoted to blue belt, lost a lot at blue belt. I lost 37 matches at blue belt.
Damn.
Now, granted, I had 130 matches at blue belt, but still, you know, I lost more at blue belt than any other belt.
Where were you going to get all these matches? Every one I go to, it's like 2 guys, 1 guy.
Well, you know, I would go like to like Victory. You know, I had 7 matches my first tournament. You know, I did both gi and no gi, and
yeah, that's what I do as well. But usually when I show up to, like, I mean, I've only done Grappling Industries, Fuji, AGF, and then I did I don't know. There's another one. Submission only. Yeah. And there's only like 2 or 3 guys ever in my weight class.
Like a Tulsa AGF, if you do all 4 divisions in Tulsa, the most I got was 10 matches. And I consistently.
Oh, and you're doing absolutes as well.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're doing your division, doing absolute.
Yeah. I've only done absolute once. That was at AGF. So
yeah, so I do absolute. I figure if I'm there and I'm gonna pay the money, I might as well spend the money to get there.
Well, I'm always like, man, dude, these guys are big, and then I forget, like, well, dude, you're 215 pounds, like, you're not small. I'm just a lot shorter than a lot of these guys. So when they're walking around 6 something, I'm like, damn, these guys are big.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that.
So I'm like, just don't worry about absolutes. Yeah. Just do no gi and gi, and you'll be all right. But since I did absolute at AGF, you know, I liked it a lot. It was pretty cool. So.
Yeah, the thing that, and then I started IBJJF And that was cool because there's people in my division, my weight, you know, my lifestyle. Because there's a big difference between even a 32-year-old and a 42-year-old. Just there's a, you know, you got to understand there's a difference.
Yeah.
And I really, you know, enjoyed the IBJJF circuit. And so you just travel, like, you know, I'd go to Atlanta, go, you know, to different locations and compete. And a lot of times it was, and especially in the beginning, it was just me. I would just, you know, fly to Atlanta by myself and
really
go compete and come back. And
no coach, no nothing. Huh?
No, I didn't really, you know, Devin's the first coach that if it was outside of Kansas City that I knew without a shadow of a doubt would either be there or make sure I was taken care of.
That's awesome.
And that was one of the, you know, main drawing points to, you know, going to Pareto is he was, even before he was my official coach, if he was around, he would always make sure I was taken care of. So
that's neat.
And it makes a big difference. But, you know, I had to learn a lot by myself, you know.
Do you think that was good, kind of baptism by fire type deal, you know, thrown out there to figure it out?
You know, you learn a lot. You know, you learn a lot. I like when people tell me, "Oh, I don't have anybody coaching." I'm like, I probably did 100 matches without a coach.
Did you record any of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were able to review footage and all that. Okay.
So I went to my first IBJJF Master Worlds of Blue Belt. Went 0-1. Spent $1,500 go to Las Vegas to lose my first match.
Damn, man, that's got to be a shitty feeling. It happens, though.
Yeah, it does, you know.
Man, so that's a long plane ride back.
Yeah, well, we learned a lot. Don't vacation in Vegas while you're trying to compete in Vegas. That's when my wife decided that it's just best for me to go compete and her not go.
Yeah.
It's just too many
Stay
competing.
Focused. Yeah,
it's too many competing interests at that time.
I get it, man. That's cool. Yeah, I remember I asked you that question at the seminar, you know, kind of how do you get prepped for a competition? And I remember you telling me it's like, or I asked, how long do you take off of training before a competition? You said you train up to the day of, pretty much, or the day before.
Yes.
Yeah. I get mixed reviews on that. You know, I get some people like, hey, take a week off. I get some people say, hey, take a couple of days off. You're saying train up to the day. So is that just what worked for you? Is that why you kind of that's what you stand by?
I'm going to tell you, I listen to the people that have been successful.
Right.
So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, if you're winning, your weight carries more value than if you're not.
Right.
So the people I know in my circle, you know, Mark Vives, you know, Nick Sanders, Hodger Gracie, their training regimen doesn't change. Mm-hmm. You know,
maybe intensity changes that week.
The week of, you know, I'm not going 100% the day before, but, you know, my body's used to rolling and going to class 6 days a week. My timing, my rhythm, everything that's going on is used to being in the gym 6 days a week. So if I took a week off, my rhythmic body is out of whack. My stress level, you know, all that is, I couldn't even imagine. Right. I like training the day before, especially like if I'm traveling at a different gym, because it takes the edge off. Because if I walk into a gym in Atlanta that I don't know anybody, it's almost half as nerve-wracking as going to a tournament.
Right.
I'm able to get that nervousness energy out of me. I'm able to roll. I don't go 100%. Now, if we need to go 100%, I'll go 100%. I'm not going to back down and just get beat up either.
Yeah.
You know, but we'll normally go 50, 60%, get, you know, 3 to 5 rolls in, get a good sweat. And then for me, that brings the nervous anxiety level down to okay, well, it's, you know, Thursday. We're used to, we always roll on Thursday. So why would we not roll this Thursday?
Yeah. No, I get that. I've done both. I've done like up to a couple of days too. And like I said, this is completely different, you know, on the level, you know, I mean, you're in Las Vegas competing compared to, you know, what I'm doing. But I just noticed that having a week off, your body feels a lot better. You know what I mean?
Does it?
Because I don't know, man. I mean, I get a lot of aches, man, a lot of different aches and pains, man. And like, I feel like when you let that 4 or 5 days off, you just feel kind of rejuvenated, like not hurting so bad. You know, you go out there feeling fresh and strong.
Yeah. See, I can tell you this. I'm going to take a couple of days off this week, and by the time Saturday comes around and I'm back training, I'm going to be so wound up and so irritated by not getting able to train.
Yeah. Well, mentally, right? But I'm talking physically,
Well, half the battle's mental battle.
Yeah, right.
So, and then the other thing I believe it does, it allows you to stay in your timing. Because when we go to these tournaments, the goal is to win. Yeah, we're not, people say win or learn. No, you're going there to win.
Right.
You didn't spend the money to go lose.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't. So, but if we put so much focus on one match, all right, then we end up really putting this whole anxiety burden on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if the way I look at it, if I'm going to Vegas, I may only have one match.
Right.
But if I roll 5 matches the day before with different people and laugh and joke and have a good time, I just got 6 matches instead of 1.
Yeah.
So I train 6 days a week, regardless if it's a competition prep, regardless if it's non-competition prep. So me taking a week off would totally throw my rhythm out of sync.
I get what you're saying. I don't know. I guess I just look at it, and I know you say physical is half the battle, right? Or, and I get that part. I don't know, man. It's just, you came back into jiu-jitsu as an older man, as well as I did too. I mean, we were above our 30s when we started. I started at 30 or 31 the second time around. And I just feel like it's very difficult, to kind of, how do I word this? Like, I feel a lot more of the injuries and stuff like that now than what I did when I first started in my mid-20s, later 20s. So how old are you now?
43.
43. So you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
So what is it that you do? I mean, are you lifting? Are you just fucking throw some mud on it? Fuck it. Let's go. Like, let's get this shit done.
All of the above.
All the above?
All of the above. I think it depends on what your goal is in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
If your goal is to go do jiu-jitsu as a health benefit and as a opportunity to, stay active, learn some self-defense, show up 3 times a week, be average at it and, progress through the ranks. I think it's very important to make sure that you're, doing all of the above to take care of and take time off. I can tell you, if your goal is to be a world champion or a Pan American champion, you better find a way to train.
Yeah.
Because your competition's training.
Yeah.
They're training when you're sitting at home nursing your knee. Well, I can't do jiu-jitsu because my knee hurts. No, you can go do a lot of jiu-jitsu with one leg.
Right.
You may not like the jiu-jitsu you're learning, but you can go do a lot of jiu-jitsu. All right. So goals are important. And sustainability is important. What are you trying to accomplish is going to determine the outcome. I don't. There has been I've had 2 knee surgeries. I got a torn right labrum in my hip or my arm. I tore my left hip labrum in Nogi Worlds, competed this whole year. Multiple cortisone shots. But it's, what do you want to do? You only have so many years at each belt. And for my journey was, I only had so many years. I broke my orbital bone 3 days before Worlds last year. I got a heel to the face in the middle of training by somebody else. It was a freak accident, and I couldn't see out of my left eye going into Master Worlds. Shit. And that doctor told me I probably, I shouldn't be thinking about flying. Well, it's my last year competing at Worlds. Am I going to say, sorry, I got a broken, no. I put way too much effort in. I couldn't walk on one of my ankles one time when I was at Master Worlds, but the goal was to win. if I took off every time something hurt or didn't act right, you would never be training in jiu-jitsu at a level to where you're going to be successful competing in the world stage.
Is that something you've always had, or is that something that you've kind of created through your journey, this road you're on for jiu-jitsu?
I think I've always found a way to be able to be successful at the things I've wanted to be successful at. Uh-huh. And for me, I'm not the smartest. I'm not the brightest. I'm not the one that understands, it takes me a little bit longer to understand, but what I am the one is going to probably outwork a lot of people. Mm. And, in work and jiu-jitsu, family, it's like, you don't have to be the brightest or the smartest. You just have to be willing to do what others aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
And that for me that grit has allowed me to be successful in a lot of areas in my life.
Where'd you get that from though? Because a lot of people, don't have that, man. I want to say, a lot of people say you got to be born with that, but I kind of feel like you've acquired that along, the road that you've been on for your life, and it's kind of, you've molded yourself that way,
I think, this is going to get deep now. Feeling inadequate growing up, not that anything my parents did. I came from a wonderful parents. I came, wonderful upbringing, but always kind of feeling I was never good at anything. I wasn't good at baseball. I wasn't good at basketball. I wasn't good at football. Like I was never good at anything. Mm-hmm. So that feeling of inadequacy as I became an adult, it's like, and I started having success in my career and I started having success in martial arts. I'm like, all I got to do is show up and work and, outwork people. Well, that's easy. I can do that.
Yeah.
That's the easy part, so that's kind of, they said, I tell my son all the time is hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that. Now, granted, when talent works hard, well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But the great thing about jiu-jitsu is, you kind of get a return on your investment on how hard you work.
Right. Yeah. And then there's a flip side to that too. I mean, with the grit that you have and, speaking of your, trying to show your son of what you can do if you were to dedicate yourself to something you love, how hard is it for you to be able to balance that between family and, your passion for jiu-jitsu? Is that kind of a difficult thing? Because it sounds like you train a lot. You go to a lot of competitions. How does a father and a husband able to balance that,
Well, first off, having an amazing wife and support system at home. I couldn't do it without her. My wife is the reason I'm able to balance that. I try to make sure there's times in my, football season's coming up. As soon as Master Worlds is over, which is Labor Day weekend, pretty much that's to the end of the year. I try not to book anything major tournaments because that's football season. Mm-hmm. So I'll dial my training back a day.
Your son does football?
Yeah, he does. Okay. He's 12 years old. He's been playing football since kindergarten.
That's awesome.
So, and just to make sure, so I'll spend, 2 nights a week at his practice. He's invested too, they're both invested. My wife trains now, so she's going to open mat and my son will come hang out and all the kids play on their iPads or whatever. But it required, my wife to support that journey and some marriage counseling and some give and take.
Hey man, we all been there.
Over the years, allowed us to be able to communicate in a manner that, made sense. I train, I compete every 6 to 8 weeks, but there's a lot of times my son goes with me. Like my son's been to California with me. My son's been,
oh, that's cool.
To a lot of tournaments with me. And got to see a lot of people, meet a lot of people.
Watch his dad compete.
Watch me compete. Yeah. My wife's got to come. She, like I said, we kind of have it sorted out now where unless it's local, she kind of agrees that just for my nervous energy and for her that it's best.
Yeah, I can't imagine on that level because I feel the same way at the small tournaments I do. I'd rather just go by myself, you know, because I don't want to get, if I'm getting submitted by somebody, I'd like it not to be in front of both my kids.
Well, you know, I don't mind losing in front of my wife or my kids, but it's always balancing. Oh, is my son okay? Is my wife hungry? Is this
Right,
going? It's all,
right.
you know, it's all that balancing that you still doing as a father.
Mhm.
You know, where is he at? Where is he playing? Who's he playing? Is he playing well? Is
Yeah.
he, you know, is he? So
Yeah.
that's the stuff that just adds a little bit,
Distracts you.
distracts you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. The reason why I asked you that is because, you know, I've got 2 kids of my own. So, you know, and I'm not trying to be, you know, to your level or anything like that or anything, you know, I'm 32 years old. I mean, you know, I do jiu-jitsu probably 3 to 4 times a week is what I try to hit. There's times where I only do 2 times a week.
Yeah.
But, you know, having hobbies and work and family, I try to balance all of it. And as you know, it can be very difficult, and which can also increase stress. And, you know, like, you're like, damn, I'm not giving enough to them, but then I'm not giving enough to this. And, you know, I like to ask people, you know, how they're able to do it. And then at the end, I mean, I think we can all agree that there are sacrifices that, you know,
100%.
that you make, you know.
Well, you know, there's certain things in our life that are in our schedules. Like Tuesdays, I don't train on Tuesdays or Fridays for the most part. I'm not saying haven't ever trained there. And then Saturday and Sunday afternoons are pretty much family time.
Right.
So basically 4 nights a week, I'm home at home.
Yeah.
You know, now Monday nights we train, Wednesday nights I train, Thursday nights I train. Saturdays I normally leave my house about 8:00 and don't get home until 1:30 because I go to 2 open mats on Saturday. And then Sunday I go to an open mat on Sunday, but that's normally after church. So we'll go to church. My wife and I will go train for, you know, an hour and a half, go pick up some lunch as a family afterwards, and spend the rest of the Sunday doing family stuff.
That's cool.
You know,
that's cool that you've kind of, you know, you're bringing them around, and, you know, now your wife is going too, which I think is awesome. You know, now she's getting into it. Is your son planning to get into it as well, or is he training at all?
You know, he's trained, he's a gray belt, and he's trained off and on for many years. As he's gotten older, football and recreational sports have consumed more of his time.
Right.
And we're kind of I'm not going to say a one sport family, but we don't like to, you're going to be running here, there, and everywhere. And, you know, in our opinion, he only has so many years to play football or baseball or whatever. So those are kind of stuff, and wrestle. Those are stuff that we are focused on right now. And then as he has time or as things free up, then he'll be able to do more jiu-jitsu as he gets older. Yeah,
that's cool, man. I'm glad that you guys have that balance, because, you know, you want him to be a kid as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the other thing. It's like, you know, let him go enjoy those sports, you know, with his friends at school. And, you know, that's pretty cool that you guys see that, you know. And because I have seen parents where they've got like 3 different things they're doing, and it's just 6-7 days out of the week they're here. They don't have enough time to play with their friends. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we kind of, and I'm not looking down upon anybody who does it. That works
whatever.
for them and their family. We try to, you know, there's times sports overlap a little bit, but we try to stick to, we're only doing, you know, one thing at a time.
Right.
And that way, you know, so when it's football season, it's football season. When it's, you know, wrestling season, it's wrestling. He hates wrestling, but I make him still go. But
dude, tell him to. I regret not doing it, man. I wish I would have done wrestling in high school. Yeah. I don't know why. Just wrestling. When I was growing up, it always had like a bad stigma to it. You know, it's like, oh, you want to be in that freaking singlet, you know, blah, blah. That's, you know, girly looking or whatever. And now it's like, man, them dudes are whooping my ass, man. Like, come on. You should have put me in there.
Well, you know, the thing about wrestling and jiu-jitsu that makes it really hard is you have to suck until you don't suck.
Yeah.
And what's hard for young people and old grown-ups is that's why a lot of people drop out of jiu-jitsu is they don't like sucking at something.
Yeah.
They don't like being bad at something.
Or contact with another human being.
Yeah.
Because it's a very, not intimate, but it's like you're close on somebody,
You're
you know?
intimate. You're about the closest thing
Yeah.
you're doing with the clothes on.
You ain't lying. And it's like, and people just get kind of, and I think also too, it's like you have another individual that's just controlling you. I mean, even if, you know, I've tried to explain to people that think jiu-jitsu is not real, or, you know, it's not, oh, but if I were to punch you in the face, you know, those type people, you know, it's like, guys, if you were to go, just go roll with a 6-month white belt or a 1-year white belt, you will see. Now imagine rolling with a black belt or a brown belt. You know what I mean? It's like a helpless feeling that you get. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
You feel immobile. You feel like you can't, you're a baby and they're just, you know, playing with you. You know?
And you know what's crazy about that is, you know, I'd like to say I'm decent at jiu-jitsu and I'm a black belt, and there's still guys that make me feel like that. And I'm like, the level of this is just so, it's so wonderful that, you know, I've been doing this 8 years and there's still guys that make me feel like, you know, Paretta is one of those guys that I don't think I've ever scored a point on.
Really?
Yeah. Like when we roll, he beats me every time. And it's like, there's so many levels to this that it's just, it's infinite. And the beauty of that is just, you know, as good as you think you are, or as good as you are in your gym, there's guys out there that are just that much better.
Yeah.
And that can make you feel like a white belt.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And that's what's great about it. And you're right. Most people are walking around don't realize if they got into altercation with somebody that knew jiu-jitsu, how helpless they would be. But I also find out most people that know jiu-jitsu don't get in altercations because they don't have to prove nothing to anybody.
Exactly.
Why do I have to choke a dude out in the street? I just...
You get no satisfaction.
Yeah.
I feel like their satisfaction is more of, I want to beat the guy who actually trains, you know, that's at my level or above.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to get? What are you going to prove if you do it to somebody who doesn't know shit?
Yeah, like, what are we going to do? Well, the potential risk is getting shot or stabbed or
for sure
killing them, and next thing you know, you're in jail for manslaughter or whatever. The risk are just, you know, I don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Well, I feel like you also, too, when you're training, you get that out of you. That energy, that excess that energy that a lot of guys are walking around with just built up inside of them, thinking that they can pound their chest and whoop your ass because they used to, you know, they won a couple fights in high school. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know, I've learned a long time ago, use my mental jiu-jitsu and just, I got nothing to prove, man. Yeah. And let's just turn around. I got way more to lose than to turn around and figure out how do we get in a fight with somebody outside of any of this, you know. But
do you feel like, and I know you've done a lot more than just jiu-jitsu, but you feel like martial arts in general has gave you that confidence?
Oh, yeah. You don't have to prove it to yourself or your wife. You just like, okay, whatever, dude, let's go home.
Isn't that the crazy part about it, though? You would think, other people would think that it'd make you more aggressive because you have this power now, this knowledge of whatever art it is you're learning. And they're like, oh, well, they're just going to be this asshole. Like, and I'm not saying there's not assholes out there that are in martial arts. You know, I'm not going to say that. You know, I'm sure there's some out there that are some assholes. But a majority of people I meet are really fucking nice people, man. You know?
Well, the assholes weed themselves out.
For sure.
Because their egos can't take getting beat up by a skinny old, you know, 17-year-old white belt or blue belt. You know, the very few. Now there are some.
Yeah, but I've heard of a couple, even black belts that are. Yeah. So I mean, I know there's some out there. You know what I mean? But and it's all perspective too. You know, so I don't know them. You know what I mean? But I've heard some stories. But it's just like, I can't 100% say there's not. But I would say a majority of people who I have met, it's like as if the training is making them a better person, you know?
I think training jiu-jitsu checks a lot of boxes off that help with increase your quality of life.
Right.
The complex part of that is being able to train jiu-jitsu without getting seriously injured. And every new white belt, you know, ends up with owies. And it's real easy to say, oh man, my knee's tweaked today, or my wrist hurt today, or my shoulder hurts. I probably shouldn't go train. And then the longer you're away from the mat, the harder it is to get back on the mat. And, you know, if somebody can make it past those first 6 months and just show up consistently, the benefit you'll see from it, you know, if they could sell it in a pill, it'd be, you know, they'd be selling it for $10,000 a pill, because your mental clarity, your mental health, you know, fights depression, anxiety, you know, so many different, makes you a better person, makes you more patient. I can tell you the person I am today, the leader, the husband, the father I am today is totally different than the person I was 8 years ago. Yeah. You know?
I feel the same way, man, because before I found jiu-jitsu, I was pissed off at everything. You know what I mean? It's like, and then I would just do the typical normal things, 20-year-olds, even though I had kids, my first kid at a very young age, but it was just the same thing. Work, weekends, have people over, have beers, you know, the same routine over and over again. And I'm not saying if it works for you, like, you know, it's cool. But for me, I don't know if it's how I'm wired or what, my brain doesn't stop. It just like, it's like eating itself. And I'm sure a lot of people deal with that. But what jiu-jitsu has given me, it's given me like a goal, you know, like, you know, my goal is to progress the best I can on the time that I have at my gym. It's getting me back into working out, because now I have a reason to work out, because just like you, I don't like working out. You know, I like the feeling afterwards, but, you know, I have a goal now, you know, and my goal is to get stronger, get better in order to be better at this, you know, prevent less injuries as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's changed. It has spilled over into, you know, my personal life, you know, without even asking. You know, it's not like that was my goal. And, you know, I notice with my kids, I'm a lot more patient. With my wife, I'm a lot more patient. With people around me, I'm a lot more patient, you know. And, I don't know what that is. The only thing I think of is just letting all that built up energy out. And it's not, you know, it's not eating me up. It's not irritating me. You're getting that mental clarity of when you go on the mat and all you can think of is, you know, either submit this person or roll with this person or don't get submitted by, you know, like it's just nothing. And then afterwards, after that mental and physical exhaustion, you feel like, I mean, it may sound corny, but almost like reborn, you know, like that runner's high that you get, you know, so.
Yeah, I agree. And then the other thing, when you start doing this consistently, you know, 3, 4, 5 days a week, you know, like you said, you start lifting weights and you start, you know, and then you start eating a little bit cleaner, because, you know, oh, well, if I lose a few more pounds, I'll feel better. I'll be able to breathe easier. Yeah. And then next thing you know, you're eating cleaner, and then you quit drinking on Friday nights because you got open mat on Saturdays, and you don't want to be groggy on Saturdays because you don't want to get beat up and go in there hungover. Yeah.
That's my thing on Saturday to Sunday. It's like, if I go to open mat, I don't want to feel like shit, because I've done that.
Oh, yeah.
Or you drink and you're like, why am I so gassed right now? You know?
And so it's all these side benefits that are just helping you try to reach the goal that you are, which is to not suck at jiu-jitsu. You know? And then as adults, if you think about it, how many adults get to learn something new as adult? Like, how many adults you know, you're using your right side of your brain, you know, you're learning, you're going back to kindergarten on how to learn. Yeah. And you're teaching your brain how to learn new things. So when you go into your work or your family, you're retraining your brain on how to learn again. So you're picking things up quicker in work. You're picking things up, social cues, because you're more in tune, because your brain's refocusing on how to learn. Because we quit learning when we leave high school for the most part. Yeah. The knowledge you have doesn't grow a whole lot once you get out of formal schooling.
Yeah. Unless you're put into situations where you have to. Yeah.
Unless you put in situations where you have to learn new stuff constantly. Well, jiu-jitsu fulfills that cognizant reasoning skills.
I know, which amazes me why these gyms aren't all packed. Like, don't get me wrong. I see from when I first started till now, which was only a very small amount of time, you know, you could probably say more than me, you know, you started way before me, how people aren't running to these doors and signing up, man. I mean, I don't get it.
Because you have to suck before you don't suck.
Right.
And people don't like doing things that are uncomfortable. And as we become adults, we start getting in these social anxiety bubbles of where we don't want to do new stuff. We don't want to, put ourselves out there. We don't want it because most people are successful in their lives. So, you're taking, I train with judges, I train with lieutenants, I train with people who own their own business. These are the top of the top people, executives at AMC are the top of the top in their world. And you're telling them to go back to being nobody?
Yeah.
That's a big step for these people to have to say, I control everything in my life. Right now you control everything in your house and your life. I want you to put all that aside and I want you to walk in this gym where there could be a 16-year-old gray belt that's going to choke you and there ain't going to be anything you can do about it.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen for a year.
Yeah.
And then the small goals are you quit getting your guard pass for 5 minutes by a white belt. And that's successful.
Yeah.
That's hard for people. It's hard to humble ourselves enough to be bad at something.
Do you have any advice if someone was to be listening right now who's thinking of making that move? How does one overcome that? How does one become humble?
Oh God.
Because I don't know what to tell them other than embrace the suck. I mean, just fucking don't think about it. Just go in there, get fucking choked out and go home and then go do it again.
I think people will go to places where they enjoy going. So find a gym that you enjoy going to or enjoy being around the people because the people are what going to continue to bring you back.
Right.
And
the environment.
The environment is going to be, and every gym's different. Every gym culture is different. Every gym's, engagement is different. But find, if you have a friend that trains, go to that class with your friend because, I was training yesterday with a friend of mine. And as we're going through the techniques, we're talking about life, as we're talking about solving all the world's problems, as we're drilling, guard passes.
Yeah.
And then when you put yourself in a position, which is hard because they don't even know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
When you find a place you enjoy being around, you're going to go a lot more just because you enjoy seeing the people you see.
Yeah, you're right on that too, because I've always told people, well, find the nearest gym because it gives you less excuses not to go. If you're driving 30 minutes away to a gym, when you get home from work, you might go, man, I don't want to drive a half hour, when it's compared to 5 minutes down the road, which has helped me, know, but fortunately for me, there's a great environment at the gym down the street. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you can't just look at probably location as well. It's a mixture of things. You got to look at, distance and gym culture and all that stuff,
Yeah, I would encourage people to probably try you're looking at, try your first 3 gyms that are closest to you.
Yeah. Do your week trials.
Yeah. Just go
or whatever, whatever they offer.
Days
yeah.
See which one you get, because every gym's different. Every gym I've been to has been different on what their thing is, and they all cater to, there's what goes well for them. And I bet you're going to find one that you're like, oh man, and it may be 10 minutes further.
Yeah.
And then also, if you have a friend that trains, that's number one is if you got somebody, that trains and you can go and partner up with that person. And then next thing you know, then that's kind of accountability. Hey, you training Thursday? Yeah. Okay. I'll see you Thursday. And then kind of have that accountability.
But you know how hard that is though. It's like almost like having a workout partner, you know what I mean? It's like once they stop, then you stop,
I don't ever invite any of my friends. All my friends are jiu-jitsu friends anyways, but like my coworkers and my friend, I don't even talk to them. Really? I talk to them about jiu-jitsu a little bit because they know what I do, but I don't invite them and be like, I'm not one of those guys that harp on people coming because I know it's such a, Man, if you look at the videos online of jiu-jitsu, you can get a whole wide gambit of what you're going to see.
Right. Yeah, I know. What does your job think of that, man? Like on what you've accomplished? Do they know? Because you've been at your job for so long. Yeah. Like, do they ever talk to you or anything? Like, or know kind of what you've done and what you've accomplished?
I think.
Or you kind of keep it that line?
You know, I've been with U-Haul for 25 years now. I've been at the warehouse, the fulfillment center for 13. A lot of people that are close to me there know what I do because, you know, I come in sometimes with black eyes or busted lips.
Oh, dude, I know. Yeah.
You know, and
I've been in meetings with the same, so I know.
So, you know, yeah, I think my close circle of people I work with know what I do and how I do it, but it's not something like it's not something I run around after I win worlds, run around there with my gold medals all day at work.
No, yeah. I didn't know if anybody actually follows what you do, you know, social media wise and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do. So, you know, I have people at different spots, but, you know, jiu-jitsu is such a small niche sport anyways. It's kind of anybody outside the jiu-jitsu world, you say you've done this or that, they kind of, okay, well, my 7-year-old brother's got a black belt, so that's cool. You know, so
in Taekwondo,
you know, so
I laugh because the first the first no-gi day at Helion that I went to, because I started when they first opened, and we had no-gis on Tuesdays, I think, and the day I went in there, I was rolling, I was excited because, you know, I used to roll at 10 Planets. I'm like, finally no-gi, you know. And I start rolling with my buddy John, not Monk, but we have another guy named John there, and he's a big dude, and he just like flings an elbow back and just pops me right in the face. I never had one explode like this, but instantly blew up. Couldn't see, eyes swollen shut, and I had meetings the next day.
Oh yeah,
it's like, how do you explain that, man? Everybody thinks your wife beat you up, or, you know, you got into like a, you know, domestic dispute or something, or somebody beat you up on the street. You know, it's like, no, it's just rolling around with a bunch of sweaty men. That's about it.
Yeah, we had this was probably 5 years ago. My company sent a film crew out to film a life in a day of a plant president at U-Haul, and also like how to balance your health. And so they actually filmed me at work, and then they came to jiu-jitsu and
that's dope.
Filmed me at jiu-jitsu and interviewed me and all. And literally like 2 days before, I got this huge black eye. It's like all the camera angles had to be at a certain angle so you didn't see my black eye.
That's crazy.
You know, everybody that I deal
can we put makeup on that?
Yeah, everybody I deal with at work, you know, pretty much knows, okay, you get them a lot less the better you get at jiu-jitsu. That's the good thing.
Right.
But yeah, I've black eyes, you know, busted. I put my tooth through my lip.
Damn.
You know, like I said, I broke my orbital bone 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
Does that just heal on its own?
Yeah. For the most part, most of it, yeah. So.
Damn. Yeah, that's crazy. And I was about to ask you about that because I was going to ask you if they did, you know, since you being, you know, in your position you're at in your job, I know some companies I've worked at, they've done a lot of like health programs and stuff like that, but it's always like the generic, like, how much weight can we lose? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, like on the scale, like that doesn't always determine you being healthy. I mean, I've been at the weight I'm at when I was the heaviest, you know, fat wise, and I'm still around the same weight, you know, the fat that I've lost, you know, so that doesn't always determine health, you know, like being healthy. My thing is more of like, show or do a sport or something like softball or, you know, something that's getting people active, running around, you know, getting blood pumping. Have you ever thought of offering that at, you know, where you work, or have they ever talked to you about it?
Oh yeah. We're really fortunate. U-Haul has been, really good at supporting our health journey. So we get $75 every 3 months just for being enrolled in something. Like, so it could be jiu-jitsu, it could be a softball league, it could be your traditional. And then we get another $75 if we work out more than 10 times a month.
Oh, that's cool.
So they basically pay us $150 every
Oh, like to an HSA or something?
No, to your paycheck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn, that's nice.
So just for being enrolled. So it doesn't cover everything we do. So that's their way of trying to support, people living healthier life. And we got so many lifestyle programs to help encourage people in our organization to get healthier. And it's not about the scale. Like they also, if you do lose weight, they'll pay you per pound and then give you a whole bunch. That benefited me for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have so many different programs to help, not just, hey, lose weight, we pay you, or hey, do this. But a lot of it is just, they're trying to a healthy lifestyle journey, not just a fad diet to make you feel good for the scale.
Yeah. And which is ultimately, I mean, some of those diets, man, it's like, yeah, you shrink down and then those people blow back up. It's trying to teach the longevity of this goal, because that's the ultimate thing. Like, you can't just, run this diet plan or workout plan for 6 months and then you're good and then you don't have to do anything. I mean, this is a life journey, and that, I think it's neat when companies involve them, or well, not involved, but offer that to their employees, because you start creating healthier people, you start creating better people, just a better morale, better environment, but everyone's thinking clearer, and all sorts of benefits they get from that, man. I mean, I think it's something a lot of companies should start incorporating more, instead of, hey, we got donuts on, or a piece of, that type of stuff, which is cool. You can have that stuff, but also have, the healthier side of it as well.
Yeah. The problem is it's real hard for executives to see the ROI, because it's a long game. Right. And a lot of executives are planning quarter to quarter, not year to year.
You're right.
And we're pretty fortunate that our executive staff at U-Haul has been around a long time, and they're looking at taking care of people, not necessarily the bottom line. The bottom line is important, but we need to take care of our people to help support our goals. And
because they're human beings, man. They're not numbers, and a lot of companies, they look at them just as numbers,
and we're fortunate. Our CEO is his father started the organization. I know him personally. He cares deeply about people being successful and being able to provide for their family. He has a job to do too. He's got to run a company. He's got to look out for 35,000 people and make sure they still have a place to come to work and still have benefits and all. But he truly does care. And he's been the CEO for, God knows, 35, 40 years now. So it's not like he's going anywhere. And he can do what's best for people and the organization, not what's just best for the bottom line and shareholders. And me and him have had that discussion many a times. And, it's easy to go to work for an organization, really wants to see people be successful, if it's with them or even if it's moving on to the next phase of your life.
Yeah, that's cool though, man. I'm glad you found a company like that. That's hard to find. Very hard to find.
It is. It's hard for me, most people that have my background in education wouldn't be in the role I'm in, but U-Haul has developed me and allowed me to be as successful as I was wanting to be. And, been patient and groomed and helped me get there. And, that's what's great about what we do, is that they'll allow you to be successful as you're willing to be.
Yeah.
And, that's what I enjoy about what I do every day. So
yeah, because I don't think you have to have an extensive college background in order to be successful. I think, like you said, as long as you're willing to put the time and the effort in, you can be. I mean, a majority of people can achieve what they're trying to achieve in whatever position they're going for. I don't think a college degree necessarily always determines that person's knowledge, or if they're going to be adequate enough for this position,
if you're going to be a doctor, you should probably have a college degree.
Doctor.
If you're going to be a lawyer, you probably need a college degree.
Yeah. But there's a lot of other jobs out there.
There's a lot of other jobs. And, I think that's coming back full circle. When I was in school, it was either you go to college or you're going to be a failure. And I wasn't good at school.
Yeah.
That was a struggle for me. So to be able to just show up and work hard and learn as I went was I always had to understand the why. Why are we learning this stuff?
Yeah.
And now I'm 43 years old and I got to tell my son, this stuff's important. I don't know why, but it's important.
Yeah. Some of it's important. Well, I mean, and even with people with college degrees, even in some of those positions you named, I mean, doesn't really necessarily mean they're smart. I've had guests on here that have had interactions with such people in those positions, and it's like, I'm amazed that you're even in this. Like, because you were able to get through college, you were able to get this job, unfortunately. But yeah, man, I mean, even me, I think it's, I'm the same way. High school background, did a little bit of college, a couple of months, and just wasn't for me. Started a family early, had to chase the money. Yeah. And, I'm still in the position now where I say the same thing to a company if I'm working for them. It's like, hey, I may not have that background on a piece of paper, okay? But if you put me in this position and give me the tools and the training that I need, I can do what they're doing. Yeah. It's not that I can't learn, as I haven't learned yet. You know? So that's kind of how I try to approach everything, and as well as from what other people that I've seen, or even in the careers I've had, people I've trained. It's like, you can learn this. I don't want to learn it. Yeah. I mean, it's all it comes down to. If you want a paycheck, let's go. Let's learn this so you can get paid and we can all go home. So
there's a big difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
Knowledge is knowing that tomatoes are fruit, and wisdom's knowing that tomatoes shouldn't go on fruit salad.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah. So knowledge and wisdom are two different things. Knowledge is what you learn from the book. Wisdom is what you gain on the job and experience.
Right.
The book tells you do it X way, but your wisdom and experience shows you, well, X way may not always work.
No, that makes sense. Shifting gears, man, because I got to ask you some questions on this, because you explained it to me a little bit over Messenger, but this whole Grand Slam thing.
Yeah.
All right. What is that? Because I hear it's a pretty big accomplishment from the people who have talked to me about it. So
in IBJJF, which is the largest gi jiu-jitsu federation, they have you have Master Worlds, all right, and then you have basically continental national tournaments. So the one in North America is Pan Americans, or Pan Ams. That's in Orlando. You have one in Brazil, which is Brasileiros, which is in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And then you have European Championship, which is in Europe. And the Grand Slam is winning your division, winning gold in your division at each one of those in the course of that year.
In 1 year?
In 1 year, yeah. So last year, I've had many goals in jiu-jitsu. I knew I was running out of time at non-black belt, so my goal was to win the Grand Slam. So last year I was able to go to Pan American Championship, won double gold there, went to European Championship, won double gold there, went to Brazilian Championship, won double gold there, and then went to Master Worlds, and I won gold and silver at Master Worlds.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy accomplishment, man. I mean, that's hard to do in 1 year. Holy shit, man. Hard to do alone one of those tournaments. I couldn't imagine all four of those. I mean, that's crazy. Has anybody else done that here in Kansas City?
As far as we know, or we can tell, nobody else has done that in Kansas City. I'm not saying somebody hasn't done it. I just haven't. We don't know of anybody that has done it at any belt level. Now, granted, let's be on. Let's understand, brown belt is not black belt.
Right.
So, but we haven't seen anybody or know of anybody in Kansas City. I'm sure after this podcast, somebody come up like, oh yeah, I did it. And that's fine too. But it was a goal of mine that me and my coach set about 1.5 years ago. So, that's awesome. And my wife supported it completely. And
that's awesome, dude.
We went for it. We had our shot and we took our shot.
So when can you do that? Is it at a certain belt level that you're able to do that? Or you can do that at blue belt if you wanted to?
You could start competing at all those tournaments at blue belt.
Really?
So yeah, so
And you just sign up for them, or do you have to be invited to
no,
those?
just sign up for them, pay a registration fee, and go.
Really?
So spend a lot of money traveling so I can hang some medals up in the garage and say I did it.
Yeah, you ain't fucking lying, dude.
Yeah,
I bet your garage is filled with medals. That's crazy.
they
man.
just collect dust, man. It's the memories that are more important than the medals.
Nah, for sure. Yeah, you're right. That's pretty neat, man. Yeah, but that's crazy though, because I had never heard of that before until I don't know who it was I was talking to. It might have been Luke was telling me what you were going for at the time, and I was like, "What is that?" He tried to explain it to me, but it's like I don't know, man. That's crazy to me to think like four, like in different parts of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so.
It was definitely fun.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to Europe, I took my wife and my son. That's the one caveat there. My wife is like, you can go, but we're going to. Mm-hmm. They weren't necessarily, my son wanted to go to Brazil, but my wife had no.
Is that the one you got silver in?
No, I got silver in Master Worlds and Open.
Is that the one in Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the biggest tournament in the world. It's like 12,000 people there. It's crazy.
That's dope.
But if you're gonna say you're the best brown belt, Master 3. And like I said, I want to be clear: Master 3 is not adult, and it's not Master 2. It's the best 40 to 45-year-old brown belt. So I know my place.
Yeah, but it's still dope, man. Like, how many people can say they did that at your age?
I always, you hear, well, Brazil, that's. And you're right. There's a lot of people in Brazil that are really good that can't afford to come to the States and compete.
Right.
So, or there are people in Europe that are good that can't afford to come. So it's like, you know what? If you want to say you're the best at a division, go hit all the parts. Let's go see if you really are the best in that division. And my trip to Brazil was tough. And I think winning the jiu-jitsu tournament is tough, but you add on the jet lag, you add on the stress of traveling in a foreign country, you add on, all that I understand now why it's harder than just winning a jiu-jitsu tournament. Because you're going to Brazil and a poor country that everybody tells you is very dangerous. Now I can tell you my experience with it. As long as you know where you're going, you pay attention to your surroundings. I felt I never had a problem with going there.
Were you on more of a tourist area, or
I stayed my second time I went there, I knew where to stay. I stayed in a place that's kind of like a Zona Rosa type area. Gotcha. But you don't want to wander off the beaten path too far. Yeah, but then you're going in a stadium that is not air conditioned. So you're in South America and a non-air conditioned stadium that has one bathroom with plumbing that's barely working. Damn. That smells really bad. All right. And it's loud because it's a concrete stadium. So it's concrete bleachers. It's loud. Yeah. And this is a whole new, very few people speak English. Really? You don't know anybody there. I knew a few people just from people I've competed with, but you're not sitting there having conversations with folks. And then you gotta go compete.
Did the refs know a little bit of English to help you, or no?
No, they're not there to know English. That's what's great about IBJJF is the hand signals are what they do, and that's internationally spoken. So the same hand signals and scoring and all that, and Master Worlds or even at your local KC Open is the same stuff they use down there. So you kind of know what's going on. Now, granted, it's a great experience. Now, if I hadn't competed so much and kind of understood the flow and how things operate and how things go, it would have been even twice as much stressful. But I knew how to compete. All the other stuff is what I had to figure out. And it was my second time in Brazil. Huh. So that one made it a little bit easier too.
How was the competition down there?
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough,
But it's probably tough everywhere, right? I mean, I know Brazil gets that allure of, they got the best down there. And, and I get that, I mean, that's not where jiu-jitsu came from, but, where it came from to America, Yeah. But, I mean, I'm sure there's tough guys all around the world that you faced.
A 40 to 45-year-old guy in Brazil is the same 40 to 45-year-old guy in the United States versus Europe. We're all just trying to feed our families.
Right.
You know, take care of our careers, feed our families. So that part, I didn't see anything that was like, oh, wow. What you do see the disparity is in the youth programs and the adult programs, like the adult black belt and adult divisions and the youth divisions. This is in their DNA. They do this. It's like American
They're
football.
starting really early. Yeah, it's like wrestling to America.
Yeah, American. No, I'm not saying that America's behind or we don't have great guys or anything like that. I'm not going to get in that debate or argument. I'm not smart enough to even have an opinion on that. But it did seem like, black belts here that are pretty successful here go down there and they struggle a little bit more because, it's just been around longer. It's like, Brazilians coming up trying to play, football. Well, it's going to be a little bit different because we've been doing it a lot longer. Yeah, but you're right. It was a wonderful experience. But yeah, it was something I'll be able to look back and say I did that.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And but we go back to originally when you talk about taking days off and not training when you're hurt and all that. Well, you're not gonna win those tournaments by sitting at home when things aren't quite right. No, but most people aren't trying to go out there and win that stuff. So you have to balance.
Yeah, find your lane.
Find your lane.
Yeah,
and your lane may change too. Your lane may be I'm just doing this to lose weight. To next thing you know, I want to win a tournament. To next thing you know, I want to win. I want to go to Master World. I've seen a lot of people that never. Most people don't get in this to compete.
Yeah, when I first started, I didn't compete. Yeah. I only competed when I started going to Helion. I don't know what made me compete because I never wanted to compete in my life. I was like, I just want to do this as a hobby. It's cool,
Well, your friends around you start doing it, starts to get a little vibe.
Yeah.
You want to put the post on social media that you won something. Yeah. And here's a great thing about it is your family that doesn't do jiu-jitsu doesn't know the difference between you winning worlds or Fuji at KC Open.
You ain't lying.
They don't have the foggiest clue. It's only the people in jiu-jitsu that know the difference and your immediate family. Yeah,
and I think too, dude, at the same time, it's like, because, when I post stuff, it's like, well, it's just an AGF tournament, but to me, and I'm sure there's guys in jiu-jitsu that's like, this guy's posting the AG. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a little, but to me, it's like, I don't even care. You know what I mean? Because to me, it's like, how many 32-year-olds can say they competed in front of, I don't know, probably a couple hundred people there, watching you and your family, and it's just you and another dude out there, like that. That's an amazing, to me, an amazing accomplishment for myself because I never thought I'd be doing that. I've never grappled before in my entire life, and I don't have any fighting background. And I'm out there grappling with another dude at 32 years old or 31, however old I was at the time. And I think that when I do post stuff like that, I'm trying to show, probably when you put stuff up too, it's like, guys, this is obtainable. And it doesn't even have to be to this, but you can go out there at this later in age and find something that you love that fulfills you. And look, and you can feel the great feelings that I feel whenever I do this stuff, like how great it is to feel when you go out there and compete if you win or lose. I mean, dude, how many people do that, So
I can tell you post them because you're going to look back on them in a year or 2 years or 3 years. To me, it's like chasing that high. It's the first win, that first gold medal. You can never, I always thought like, oh man, my first time, it's like a first time I won. It's like you're a white belt and you're like, oh my God, I won. And man, you're on cloud nine and it's okay. Then you win your first IBJJF tournament. It's like, oh my God, I won. And then it's like, you win your first, Master Worlds, and you to me, it's like constantly chasing that high. It's like always like, well, man, when I win double gold or when I win this, I'll do this. And it was to me, it's like, and then afterwards, like, all right,
when did that start happening for you? That feeling?
Just chasing the high?
No, that feeling of, it's just a medal. You know, because I understand that even at white belt, like I'm like, it's just a medal I won in some gymnasium. But at the same time, I'm still like, man, it's a dope ass accomplishment. But I've met people that have been competing as long as you have, where it's like, yeah, I don't really care. It's cool. It's fun. You know, like
here's what I say when I say, it's just a medal. It's the medal. The medal doesn't define you.
Right.
Okay. If you're an asshole, you're going to be an asshole with a medal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All the medal does, the wins, is give you a little bit bigger platform for people to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. John Monk wouldn't have had me in to teach a CASA seminar if I didn't accumulate medals. We wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't.
Hey, man, you don't know that.
If I didn't have medals. But for the majority of the world, outside of jiu-jitsu, it's just a medal.
Yeah.
What are you doing with that opportunity with the platform you're given? You know, I enjoy winning. You know, to me, it's I hate losing more than I enjoy winning, but winning's fun.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I'm not the win or learn guy. No, you lost, dude.
Yeah.
We showed up. I beat you. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You can go say, you know, but at the end of the day, the medal's important, you know, because it shows people it's obtainable. It shows people that a guy from Kearney, Missouri, that has a career and has a wife and kid can do something.
Right.
Okay. I'm not special. I don't, you know, there's nothing different. You know, I go to work and raise my family just like everybody else. But it allows people to see that, oh, you know, maybe I can do it. I try not to put too much stock into my wins or losses as a person, because as much as I enjoy jiu-jitsu, I don't want my identity to be tied up in how I'm doing in jiu-jitsu. Right. Because it's too easy to get down and depressed when you lose and get too high. So I try not to keep my highs too high, and I try not to keep my lows too low, because we're all just competing against ourselves. And that guy's just over there seeing if our version of ourself is better than his version of his self.
Yeah, it's got to be hard, especially at, you know, what you've accomplished. You know, I didn't think about that, because now that you've gained all the traction you've gained over the years of, you know, winning and you competing in these tournaments, and now is this your first year doing your seminars? Is that something new, or have you been doing that?
No, it's first year doing seminars.
So now you're doing seminars. It's like now you're living up to stuff, you know, which is probably hard. Like if you think about, you know, the Gordons and the Craigs and when they go do seminars and stuff like that. And, you know, I've always thought of this. I'm like, damn, they're probably getting called out and stuff. And they're going to have to, like, you know, hold their own with people. And, you know what I mean? I'm sure, you probably think of that stuff. It's like, how do you keep yourself grounded, you know, so to where you don't end up hurting yourself, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, like, overdoing it, you know?
Well, the good thing about seminars is, you know, luckily I've done them in all places I've been comfortable with, and I knew the people that were there. So that's number one. And the goal of the seminar is to pass knowledge. It's not to make money, you know? Yeah, it pays for some trips here and there, but it's not like I'm making it rich off of teaching Keisa Gatami seminars.
But these could lead to other gyms around the area.
Yeah, I just talked to a guy today, and we're booked a date in St. Louis, which is going to work fairly well. What I've learned about teaching seminars is how you structure the seminar and how you interact with the people carry a whole lot more weight than how good you are. People, it's got to be relatable. It's got to be workable. It's got to be something, but if you go in there and you're a complete arrogant ass, nobody's going to want to come to your seminars. They want to know what they're teaching is valuable and worth their time, and it's something they can start on right away. And, you know, I've gone to a few gyms where guys have wanted to roll. I love rolling, so I hate teaching for 2 hours and everybody books. I'm like, let's roll. We're here. We got our geese on. Yeah. And I'm always down for a good fight. So if you go to a seminar and somebody wants to, if I lose, I lose. I don't care, you know, but
that's probably something you've had to learn over time, right? I'm sure, because it bugs me, when I lose to people, to some people, you always have those couple of people you're like, you have that competition with, you know what I mean? So I'm sure you probably have that,
And now I don't.
No.
Now I just look at it as collecting data.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's just, why did I lose? How did I lose? I go against guys, I always search out some of the best guys in the city to roll with, and you're going to lose, but how did you lose? What did you learn from losing? There's some guys like Jerome. Me and Jerome have been going at it since white belt days. Aaron Stroman, we've been, if I lost, well, and then we'll talk about it. Like, oh, how did you get that entry? Or, I don't care about losing in the gym. I lose all the time. One of our blue belts triangled me a month ago, legit guard pull, triangled. Okay. So who cares? He's cool. A blue belt. I got tapped out by a blue belt on Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
If we had to go toe to toe and, and it was legit, well, that's a different story.
Yeah,
but
under the lights. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care if I lose in the gym. That's not, that's the part where you should care the least.
Right.
Because that's the part where you're with friends that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It only matters when you sign up for that tournament and you paid the money to travel. Mm-hmm. So I don't care. I'm not a person that, now granted, if you beat me, I'm going to try to at least get it back 2 times in the round, so, but I don't care if I lose in the gym.
Yeah. I'm
not one of those guys that it really bothers me. It don't hurt me at all.
No, that's cool to hear, and I think that's how it should be. That's pretty cool that, you've kind of, I feel like it sucks in the beginning, you know what I mean? But I think every year that goes by, it's like you get a little easier at, okay, it's not a big deal, Now, like I said, you have those competitions with those certain individuals.
Yeah.
Like me and Logan, my buddy Logan.
Yeah.
We be going at it. But it's crazy how things shift, because, he submits me all the time now, and I just have to accept there's nothing I can do, and I think it took, but I remember when that switch happened and it was like, well, you're just going to have to, there's nothing you can do. It sucks, it aggravates you because you're like, man, I was doing so good for a while. And then all of a sudden tables have turned and he just surpassed, and it's.
But you if y'all are training the same amount of time, you catch waves.
He trains a lot more than I do, and he's 10 years difference.
He's gonna beat you then.
He's a stud. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry for your luck there.
Yeah, I just got to put up with it.
You just got to put up with it.
That's the hard part, man. It's like even though I'm 32, I still think I'm 22.
Yeah, well, if he's out working you, he's going to get the results.
Yeah, he's gonna get it.
The other thing I talk to people about is, I believe at white, my opinion, at white belt and blue belt, your job is to submit everybody in the room. White belts, blue belts, try to submit everybody you roll with.
Oh, really?
Once you start to get purple and brown, and then you start, okay, I'm going with this newer person. Let them work. Let me help. Mm-hmm. But man, when you're a 2-stripe white belt, why are you letting the 1-stripe white belt work?
Right.
You don't even know how to let them work.
Well, maybe just to, so you don't scare off everybody in the gym, You're a
2-stripe white belt. What are you going to scare off?
Well, you know how some. Well, that's still a big difference. I feel like 2-stripe to a first day.
Man, I'm going to submit them.
Really?
I'm going to submit them. You got to get that confidence up.
We're trying to get our numbers up, man.
No. If you're a 2-stripe white belt, if you're a blue belt and you're going against another blue belt, you need to submit them.
Yeah.
If you
blue belt to blue. Yeah, I was talking like 2-stripe to day one. You know what I mean?
I'm still submitting them.
Yeah.
I'm that guy.
Jeremy, this is why your numbers were low at your gym. You were just out there trying to submit everybody.
100%.
Nobody was coming back.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, and I do admire that old school factor. But, it's different now. It's like, from what I've heard back in the day, it was like you had to be a dog to be in this gym, Like, you got to work. You got to fucking grind, Now I seen more of the shift. It's for, trying to get – and I'm not saying all gyms are like this, but, they want to have more people come in and learn and be able to learn at their own pace, not go in there and get beat up right away.
Well, see, at our gym, you don't get the role until you've been to until they feel you comfortable enough with you being able to roll. So you don't roll day one. So you come to the fundamentals class.
Oh, that's
you
cool.
may come to the fundamental. No, we do situationals to where they're going over the technique, but it's not. You're not going out there just
Doing
day
5-minute
one
rolls. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So but I'm still. If you're a 2-stripe white belt, you're submitting everybody because you don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
That's just how it is in my world.
No, I get it. I get it. I respect it. Well, speaking on that matter, then, what do you feel like the belt levels? Like, what do you feel like the standard, I guess, would be for that?
What do you
like
mean?
from white to black. Like, what do you think the standard is? Like, time, years. Does it vary from gym to gym, or
Well, yeah, it's all discretionary.
person to person, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not a head coach, and I can't even really.
Like, is it like, okay, let's say you just got your black belt, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the standard to be a black belt? Is it knowledge base? Is it experience? Is it, what is it to you? What do you think?
Well, that is a great question.
I guess you just got your black belt.
I just got my black belt
2
2 months ago. I think each gym has its own understanding, and I think each person has its own goals. I know for my gym, where I'm at and where we're at, is I personally, coming up, didn't ever want to get promoted and ever question if I deserved that next rank. All right. Because I didn't want to go in and, just get demolished, get my blue belt. And next thing you know, I'm just getting scrubbed up.
People say you'll grow into it.
Yeah. I don't necessarily, I don't know about that. I think you need to, you're right. You will. Because if you're a good purple belt and you're a blue belt, well, then you probably should get promoted. But I think each person's different. I think we got guys that are 50 plus 60-year-old men in our gym. Are they going to be at the same ability as a 22-year-old? Probably not.
Yeah.
But should they still know how to be able to throw a triangle choke and how to get out of guard and all that? If they're going to be a blue belt, yeah, they probably should. I think that's what I don't think everybody should compete every weekend, but I do think occasionally you should compete to kind of at least understand where you stack up against people, your age, your rank, your lifestyle.
Yeah. Don't you think they should at least compete once?
I think competition is good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's always for everybody, but I think it allows you to understand where you're at, and it gives you goals to look for. It's a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
You find out real quick where you suck at jiu-jitsu when you compete.
Yeah.
Because, they passed my guard and now I just got submitted. Oh, well. But as far as ranking in gyms, there's clearly gyms that are softer and promote faster. I'd say that's right or wrong, man. Yeah. I'd stay in my lane. Yeah. I don't really care. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect my life. I know the gym I'm at is got a reputation of making sure when we promote, the people are ready and, they can hold their own on day one. And I'm okay with that. I was 4 months into my brown belt division and people saying I was sandbagging because I won worlds. Like, I was a brown belt for 4 months. Knowledge and being able to win a tournament are two different things too.
You were 4 months into being a brown belt, and they said you were sandbagging?
Sandbagging, because I won worlds and pans, first 4 months after being a brown belt. And,
So they just expected you to get a black belt after that.
Exactly. And, to me, there's a difference between being a good competitor and knowing jiu-jitsu. You can be good at a few things and still not have a full understanding of what you need to do.
Have you competed yet as black belt?
Yeah.
How's that been going?
Not so good.
Oh, really? It's a totally different game?
Yeah, I've only competed. Well, I actually competed twice.
Well, then that shows. Why the hell would you say I'm sandbagging at 4 months in?
Well, it's a funny story. My first competition, literally, I signed up for a competition. And normally when I sign up, I talk to Pirate and I say, hey, because at our gym, it's a little bit different. And I like this about it is we have to not get permission, but we're a team.
Yeah.
So if you're going to compete, we need to make sure you're ready. We're not just saying, oh, there's a Fuji Saturday, I feel like signing up. No, we're going to prepare like a team. We're going to, are we good? Yeah, you're good. We're going to prepare like a team. We're going to, just like you would expect your son to do or daughter to do to get ready for football. So normally I just bounce it past them. Hey, I'm thinking about signing up for this tournament. And it's not unusual for him and me to have those discussions. Like, so I text him, say, hey, I'm going to California in 2 weeks. Just check and make sure we're all good. And he texts me back, well, we may have a problem here. And I was like, well, what? He's like, you may not be competing at brown belt. I'm like, what do you mean? And I didn't. So I get promoted the next weekend. And I'm like, holy cow. So like I get promoted a week before I'm competing at a big national tournament. Mm-hmm. My first guy I competed against was Bruno out of Texas, and he's been training jiu-jitsu for 34 years.
God damn.
I've competed. He's coached against me at every belt level. I've beaten every one of his guys at every belt level. And that was my very first match.
He was waiting for you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. And, he's a good dude, and I've always had much respect for him. So I lost by 3 points, which, it was, I didn't feel outclassed. He just, but it was like, wow, we're in the adult pool now. You know, it's, the guy's got his own BJJ, heroes page. Yeah. And it's my first match.
Yeah. So I guess if it makes sense, I mean, black belt, how long has he been a black belt for? 10 years?
No, 27.
Yeah, 20. That's
he's been a black belt 27 years.
That's insane, man. So it's a whole different caliber of class.
I think the biggest disparity of skill is at black belt.
I bet.
Because you got black belts that have been around for 27, 30 years, and you're just getting your black belt.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I guess you'll grow into it, right? Like we said, you'll grow into it. But, I don't know, man. I think I asked that question about the standard of belts, just because I don't know what's right, what's wrong, but I think, like you said, right, it just depends on the gym. I mean, there's basically no right or wrong, Like my buddy Luke says, don't worry about the fucking belt color on your waist. Who gives a fuck,
I 100% agree.
That's kind of what I've been just like, okay, not even, it doesn't matter,
You can spend way too much time worrying about things that don't affect you.
Yeah.
And if a gym's watering down jiu-jitsu, who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't affect my life.
Right.
I'm not the gold standard of my job's to keep an integrity of jiu-jitsu. Their students have to deal with their instructor. And if they're going out getting beat, they have to deal with that. And, and if another gym's holding people back to help those people meet their goals and, and people are constant, who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't, a belt is just, it is what it is. And guess what? You're going to look back on it 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and you can't go back. So just enjoy where you're at with it, man. Enjoy being a white belt. Enjoy being a blue belt. Nobody has any expectations for white belts. Yeah,
I know. I know it's always a topic. It's always like, what's adequate enough? 2 years, 3 years to be a blue belt? 1.5 years? What is the, do they have to know just the basics? Do they have to compete? There's always so many different questions, that.
I think each gym standard's different, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And I don't, that's not my cross to bear in life, is to worry about what, who, what, why, where. Like I said, just show up, train, enjoy being around the people. And, your goals will dictate of when and how that's important to you. Yeah. Because if your goals are to go win, national championships, and they're promoting you too quick, you're going to realize real quick that you're not going to win a national championship if you're getting promoted or world championships. You're not going to get, so
Yeah.
I think people put it, and I've seen a lot of people get promoted early and almost, frustrate them because they knew they weren't ready. And so I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions.
No, that's good. Yeah, I know. I can't imagine how it is for a coach, Like, that's got to be tough, and to be able to track it all, track everybody, make sure you're doing the right thing. Not too early, not too late, that's a beast, man, I'm sure. So,
yeah, gym owners and coaches don't often get enough credit for everything they do.
Yeah.
And, just the expectations put on them. We're lucky. We got, we got 4 or 5 coaches at our gym, and our gym's pretty, we got our head coach Pirate, and assistant head coach Brooke. She's awesome. One of the best females, if not the best female black belt in Kansas City, bar none. We got Coach Bianca, we got Coach Chop and Brittany. We got a wide diversity of coaches, and they're not all black belts, but so by the time they all figure out somebody gets promoted, it's probably, and then we got our other gym downtown, our affiliate Body Fit, so they got a lot of knowledge and years to.
Yeah, I've been to that one. That one's a nice gym.
Yeah,
the Body Fit.
Hopefully to make good, sound decisions, and my job is just help support the team be successful any way I can be.
Yeah, and where's your gym at?
Oh, I train at Pirates.
Yeah, where is
Independence,
it?
Independence, 291.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been to that one yet. I got my buddy Eli, who goes there.
Yeah.
He's told me about it, how great your guys' gym is, and I got to get out there. But I like going to different gyms. I've been to Cast Iron, Body Fit, KCBJJ, 10 Planet. But yeah, I like visiting, and I've always been real cool people. Never had any issues, man. Always very welcoming, Yeah. So it's pretty neat, and it's cool to see like a different coaching style, and different just the ways they run their classes. I think it's pretty neat. You can kind of take good things from everybody, and bring it back to your gym and be like, hey man, they're doing this or they're doing that. It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, I think the biggest one of the things that people miss out most on is not cross training. Yeah. Dropping in on open mats once a month or, every other weekend to just meet, see, I think I do it every weekend, cross train somewhere else and just to, learn new stuff, see new people, meet new people.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy, I appreciate you being here with me today, man, giving me a little in-depth look into your life, You're man, I'm for real, man. It's inspiring to me, and I'm sure a lot of people who watch to see a guy, like I said, family guy, has a job, kids, and is able to accomplish what you accomplished. It's a pretty big deal. Not anybody could do that or say they did that.
Well, I think a lot of people can do it. They just have to choose to want to do it, and I appreciate the kind words, and hopefully, hopefully this video will inspire somebody to start doing something that they're nervous or scared about.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. It's hard.
And it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. It can be anything.
Man, anything. If they made it this far in the video, they're pretty invested.
Yeah.
It's been a long video.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But do you have anything else coming up that you want to talk about? You got coming up here soon?
I got a seminar coming up at KCBJJ this Monday, actually.
Video might not be out by then, but
video may not. Maybe
I'll share it. I'll share it on whenever you share it.
That clip. No, I got nothing else coming up. Like I said, football season's about to start, so we're going to wind. I got Master Worlds, but that doesn't. Yeah. That's about it. Yeah. Just go train, go have fun, go enjoy your family. Don't take yourself too seriously at this. Beat up white belts, and life's good.
Thanks again, Jeremy.
All right. Thanks, man.